Hey guys, what's up? Ruben here from the Midnight Garage. So today it's time for a general update video. So, in this video I want to talk about three things. Three things. First up, our camera equipment. Secondly, our police issue. And thirdly, our cars. You see, for the last year we've been filming mainly on this camera, which is a Canon EOS 600D, which I very much like. It's a great camera, but it has one issue, which I'm about to show you guys right now. So now we're filming on the 600D again. You can see that I'm purely in focus and the cars behind me are kinda blurry. Now watch what happens if I move backwards in the shot. You can see that I start to get blurry as well. That's because the autofocus in this camera is actually really bad, so I haven't turned it on, so it's all manual focus. And that kind of sucks if I need to show you guys multiple things at multiple distances from the camera at the same time, because that means that I would have to focus them manually, like I'm doing right now. And now I'm blurry and the cars are in focus. And that's where the 70D comes in place. This is the new one. This is the one that we're going to be using mainly from now on, because next to the flip-up screen that the previous one had as well, this one has an autofocus function, which should help improve the video quality a whole lot. Right, now we're shooting with the 70D, with the same lens as I just used on the 600D, and let's see if it works. Well, you can see my hands, I'm not focusing, it's doing it all by itself. Yeah. I think that works, and I think that looks a whole lot better than it did before, so I'm happy with the outcome. I still think that the 600D is a good camera, but it's not as good as the 70D, which I'm using right now. And we are still going to use it as a secondary camera, and Boyd will use it for car shows and meetings and taking pictures and whatever. Now, you could argue with me that I should just use my cell phone, because the camera on the cell phone is pretty good nowadays as well, and they can autofocus maybe even better than this camera. And I would say that you're right, but although this cell phone footage isn't bad, I do still prefer the look and feel of a DSLR image over a cell phone image. But maybe that's just me. We're still going to use the cell phone though. That's because we got this neat little gimbal which can stabilize the footage for us, which can be very useful in some occasions. Which brings me to the latest piece of camera equipment that I wanted to talk about. This is a DJI Mavic Air. This is the latest one from DJI, which I think came out last month. This is actually drone number 4 of the Midnight Garage. If you are wondering what happened to drone 1 until 3, well, pretty much this. So I bought these drones in the past because I think that the drone looks very good when you try to showcase a car, and secondly when you want to have some nice aerial shots of where you're going when you're on your way to a road trip. And since most of our YouTube vlogs are us either showcasing our cars or us going somewhere, I thought they would look very nice. But in real life they actually weren't, well, they weren't very nice to use. They were a hassle because first up, they had to be calibrated every other time and they didn't really react the way I wanted to have. Plus I couldn't see the footage beforehand because I had the older Phantom drones and they were really a hassle, and I ended up not using them, which was a shame. So then I was looking online at footage of the latest DJI Mavic Air a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, wow, this thing basically solves all the issues I had with the previous drones. Plus you can fold it up, and once it's folded up, it doesn't really take that much more space than my cell phone here. It's really small. So that means that I can bring it with me when I go on an airplane, I can bring it with me when we go on road trips. It takes up hardly any space, and hopefully when we make new vlogs, then we can have a lot more aerial footage, which I personally really like. Right, so next up I wanted to talk a little bit about the police issue, because, you know, we still have police cars circling around here every other day, which does make me feel slightly uncomfortable, but, you know, whatever. The last time we actually talked about it, we moved all the cars from here to a second warehouse, which was actually a barn owned by the family of Kees, and I was really happy I could store the cars there. And then we were looking for a second warehouse, so we have one warehouse and the second warehouse to park all the cars and move in between there. And then, like, after 2, maybe 3 weeks, I thought that that was actually bullshit. You know, I already spent so much on, you know, warehousing the cars, and I was like, you know what, why should I spend even more on a second warehouse when I can also just get rid of a couple of cars? So we made a list. Kees, Boyd and I, we were looking at the cars that were easiest to either sell or the cars that were easiest to part out, and we just made a list of cars that we just got rid of. So if you were wondering where a couple of our cars went and, you know, why we don't post any update videos on them, that's why. The 2 cars I had the biggest issues with were the Kanjo Racer that I imported from Japan, and my K20 Honda Shuttle. The Kanjo Racer, we had some issues with it because the guy who imported it, the guy from the government, I think he was new and he made some mistakes when importing it, and that's why it was registered as a 2008 Civic Coupe, and actually it was a 1998 Honda Civic hatchback, and that means that it had to comply to rules of a 2008 car, which a 1998 car could not comply to. So the car was unsellable, and I was thinking about parting it out for a very long time. And fortunately, Damon and Jordi showed up and they said, you know, we heard the story and we want to buy the Kanjo Civic. We want to spend the time and effort in it to get it registered properly and then hopefully keep it on the road. And they did. And because I didn't have the time for it, they did. And they fortunately now it's driving again, and I'm very happy about that. So huge shout out to Damon and Jordi. Jordi's driving it now, I believe. And the second car was the K20 Honda Shuttle, because I either had to part out my Honda CRX, my JDM 1.5X style S2, or my K20 Honda Shuttle. And we were thinking about it because I like the K20 Shuttle more than I like the CRX, but the CRX will be harder to sell because it's a special JDM edition, which isn't the popular like the SCR model. And the K20 Honda Shuttle, well, yeah, it's a K20 car and it's a Honda Shuttle, and a lot of people would want to have those parts. So we were thinking about it, and in the end I did sell the K20 Honda Shuttle in parts, and we sold it in like 1 week. And I'm actually very happy because the chassis, because I was afraid that I had to get rid of the chassis, but Jelle, you know, the guy with the Lexus from the videos we saw in the past, he actually bought the chassis and he is going to rebuild it and he's going to put a K20 back in it. So that means that somewhere in the future we are going to see the K20 Honda Shuttle driving again, and I'm very happy about that. Right, let's lighten up the mood a little bit, because I just noticed that it's dark outside and it started snowing. And that's really fun. I really like that, because that means you can do some slow motion drifts without burning up your tires or worrying about damaging your car. By the way, the whole argument I just made about not worrying about damaging your car when you're in the snow doesn't matter if you're called Boyd, because he just dropped off the car damaged from drifting in the snow. Oops. Which brings me to the drift cars. Wouter's Lexus is actually holding up really fine. Boyd's car, well, you've just seen what happened with Boyd's car, but other than that it held up fine as well. And Case pretty much wrecked his gearbox. But hopefully this should all be on the road really soon, and we have actually been making a pretty big video about that, which we can hopefully put online real soon. So going forward, the Midnight Garage style, I don't want this garage anymore, but I'm stuck on it contract-wise until September, so I have to wait until the contract expires before I can actually leave. It really sucks, but yeah. It's the only way. Then once we are in September, I'm going to move everything to a cheaper warehouse, which isn't as good, but it's slightly bigger, and we can't do as much there as we can do here. But because it's cheaper and I can instantly go away again from that warehouse, I can look for a better warehouse with better amenities and a better location, and maybe a slightly bigger one. I don't know what we're planning to do then. And once I found that one, we're going to move everything again a second time, maybe even this year, maybe in the beginning of next year. And that should be the Midnight Garage warehouse coming up in the future. So yeah, that's where we are at right now. Video-wise, we've seen that due to the whole police issue, I've basically made less videos each week than beforehand. I don't really mind. I'm trying to get the quality up per video. Hopefully you guys like that. And I'm going to just try to get 1 or 2 videos out each week. Once we've moved twice and we're at the bigger warehouse, maybe we're going to up the frequency to more videos a week again. But we'll have to see. But first of all, I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. But yeah, that's the video for today. I hope you guys liked it. Leave a like if you did, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos from us. And hopefully, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.